The bug you found in your bed last night almost certainly wasn't a bed bug. That sounds like the kind of thing someone says to make you feel better. It isn't. It's just statistically true, and the fact that almost nobody knows it has caused a lot of people to throw away mattresses, spend hundreds of dollars on extermination, and lie awake convinced their home is infested, all for a bug that wasn't even on the suspect list. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which bugs actually end up in beds, how to tell them apart on site, and what finding each one actually means for your home. The confusion starts because bed bug has become shorthand for any small, flat, brownish bug found anywhere near where you sleep, which makes sense emotionally, but biologically it's a mess. Here's what a real bed bug actually looks like, because most people have never seen one. Adult bed bugs are roughly the size of an apple seed, about 5 to 7 millimeters. They're oval, very flat when unfed, and a reddish-brown color that gets darker and more engorged after a blood meal. They don't have wings, they don't jump, they move in short, deliberate bursts and then stop. If you're seeing something that flies, hops, or moves in long streaks across a surface, it's not a bed bug. They also don't live out in the open. They stay compressed into seams, folds, the gaps in bed frames, behind headboards, anywhere tight enough to hold them while they wait for carbon dioxide and body heat to signal a host. Finding one walking across your pillow in the middle of the afternoon would be unusual. They feed at night, typically in the hour or two before dawn, and they retreat before daylight. That matters because the bug you spotted at 2 p.m. probably isn't doing what bed bugs do. But that's only part of the identification problem. The bug people most commonly mistake for a bed bug is the book louse. Sosids, technically, but nobody calls them that. They're tiny, sometimes pale, sometimes brownish, and they show up in beds, on bookshelves and bathroom cabinets, and just about everywhere with some level of humidity. They eat mold and fungi, specifically the microscopic mold that grows on damp surfaces and inside the pages of old books or cardboard. They don't bite, they're not parasitic, they're not even remotely interested in you. The other extremely common one is the carpet beetle larva. This is where people really panic, because carpet beetle larvae are small, oval, and covered in bristly little hairs that can cause skin irritation, which people interpret as bites. The larvae are usually 2 to 5 millimeters, banded in brown, tan, and black. They're often found in beds because they eat natural fibers, wool blankets, down feathers, cotton batting inside mattresses, even pet hair that accumulates in corners. The adult carpet beetle, by the way, looks completely different, small, round, black, or mottled, and it mainly eats pollen outdoors. The larva is the indoor problem. If you're waking up with skin irritation and finding tiny dark bugs, the carpet beetle larva is a more statistically likely culprit than a bed bug. And here's the part that costs people money. Treating for bed bugs when you have carpet beetles does essentially nothing because they respond to completely different interventions. Then there are bat bugs and swallow bugs, which are close enough to bed bugs that a trained exterminator can barely tell them apart without a microscope. They're ectoparasites of bats and cliff swallows, respectively, and when their primary host leaves or a roosting colony moves, they'll migrate into living spaces looking for an alternative. They behave similarly to bed bugs and will attempt to feed on humans, but they're much harder to breed on human blood alone, so infestations don't establish the same way. If your exterminator keeps telling you you have bed bugs, but treatment isn't working, this is worth raising. Spider beetles are another one, round, reddish-brown, and with a shape that reads as bedbug-like at first glance. They don't bite, and they're scavenging dry goods, spilled grain, old seeds, dried food debris. Finding them in or near a bed usually means there's a food source nearby, a forgotten snack, pet food stored in the room, something in a nightstand drawer. And if what you're seeing is tiny and white or nearly translucent, it's almost certainly not a bedbug at any stage of development. Bedbug nymphs, even in the earliest instars, are still visible to the naked eye and take on a yellowish or clear pale color, not pure white. Tiny white specks in bedding are more often mite activity, which is its own category of thing worth knowing about, but not today. So, what does an actual bedbug infestation look like practically? A few tells that don't require handling the bugs themselves.
Black speckling along mattress seams. That's fecal matter, partially digested blood. Rust-colored stains on light-colored sheets, sometimes smeared. That's what happens when a fed bug gets crushed. A faint, sweet, musty smell in a bedroom with no clear source, and bites that follow a line or cluster, often on exposed skin, and appear overnight. Not every person reacts to bedbug bites. Around 30% of people show no skin reaction at all, which is why infestations can go undetected for months. The biggest thing most people don't know, you can have a single bedbug in your home without having an infestation. Bedbugs hitchhike. They come in on luggage, secondhand furniture, and clothing. One bug found once doesn't mean a colony, but one bug found repeatedly, or multiple bugs, or the physical signs above, that's a different conversation.
If you're genuinely trying to ID what you found, the most reliable method isn't a Google image search. It's a physical specimen. Catch it, put it in a sealed plastic bag or a small container, and take a photo in good light. You can submit it to your local cooperative extension service for free ID. Many universities with entomology departments offer this. A pest control inspection is free from most companies and gets you a professional set of eyes. Both are better than treating for the wrong thing. One thing worth tracking that most people skip entirely: when bugs appear changes what they are. Carpet beetle adults tend to appear indoors in late spring when they've finished overwintering outside and are looking for egg-laying sites. Book lice spike in summer when indoor humidity rises. Knowing what's seasonally likely to be active in your home takes a lot of the guessing out of it. And there's a free seasonal bug calendar in the description that maps this out month by month, so you're not starting from scratch every time something new shows up. The reason this confusion matters isn't just money, though people do spend an enormous amount on misdirected pest treatments every year. It's that the response to a real bedbug problem is genuinely disruptive. Bagging possessions, heat-treating a room, potentially replacing furniture. Doing that for carpet beetles is a waste. And not doing it for real bedbugs because you convinced yourself it must be something else is how a small problem becomes a large one. Most of the bugs ending up in your bed are there by accident, or because your bed happens to be near something they do want. They're not there for you. That's not particularly comforting at midnight, maybe, but it does mean that what's living in your home is usually more boring and more manageable than the thing your brain decided it was at first glance. If you want to know what else is quietly moving through your house and what it's actually doing there, there's more of it than you'd expect.